If you want to know how you can have financial security during your retirement years, stay tuned to the Safety First Financial Show with founder John PENNACHIO.
So here we are again with John PENNACHIO. So, you know, John, you're quite a smart guy, and everybody needs a smart financial guy. And people don't know who to trust. I think that's really the thing, because everybody has a different discussion about what they want to do, right? And people should be thinking in the long run, not for the next 1 year or 2 years. They should think what's going to be happening in the next 10 years, right?
No, absolutely. And people are living way longer. So it's a different world.
They're living longer and better.
But they've learned how to eat. Medical science has gotten better. So, I have people that come in my office that they're 75 and their parents are still alive.
Absolutely. That's really true. So now, when you think of it, are those people taking care of their parents, though? I would think they are. I mean, maybe not financially, because their parents probably have plenty of money.
Well, not as much as you think when it comes to a lot of these. I have a couple that the mother still plays tennis at 96.
No kidding.
So she still plays tennis.
Wow.
You as a retired person, you got to worry about taxes, possibility of taxes going up in the future. You got to worry about inflation, because if you're 70 and there's a good chance that either you or your spouse will live to be 95, that's 25 years. Taxes and inflation will play a part in those next 25 years. So it's not just about making money too. It's what, if inflation starts creeping up, as we continue to borrow money, there's a chance that inflation will creep up. Then your buying power goes down.
Absolutely. Well, when you sit with your clients, do you go into where they should be living? Does it carry like retirement communities? Do you go into that?
Well, actually, we talk about their living expenses and their income. And I have a program that actually shows if, we do some different type of ideas, such as what if the husband dies at a certain age and they have lost income due to, a pension that goes away or gets reduced down, they lose Social Security check, and will they outlive their money? And if a lot of their investments are risky investments, what happens if the market takes a turn down and they're drawing down those assets? So we get into all that. We get into their income, their expenses, where their money's at, and then we talk about what happens if one of them goes in a nursing home or assisted living or home care, and how will that affect, at $80,000 to $120,000 a year, how does that affect their future?
I just visited, I'm glad you mentioned it, I visited a retirement community, really upscale, and their best apartments, I think it was almost 2 bedrooms, $8,000 a month. Now think about that, $8,000, and that isn't with extra care. That's just the plain apartment, because that was independent. So your clients have to think about that, and it's your responsibility as their financial planner, I think, to make sure that money is there.
It's actually terrifying. I'll give you an example of someone that came to one of my seminars, and it was a lady, and she made an appointment. She came and she said, "John, I really don't know what I should do." I go, "We were really set. My husband has a $60,000 a year pension. At his death, it will go away. I have a good Social Security check, and he has a good Social Security check. And we're going to lose it if he dies."
Excuse me, don't they have life insurance?
No.
No life insurance?
Most of these retired people don't.
I didn't know that, John.
Most of them do not. So, but the big thing is he's been in a nursing home for 4 years. So they had about $750,000 set aside, which they didn't need income on, because that was what she was going to use in case something happens to them. Because their income drops from $80,000 a year to about $24,000 a year if she loses him. Well, she's gone through approximately $400,000 of the $750,000 paying for his nursing home. So her biggest fear now is another 3 years, she will have gone through the majority of their assets. And then what happens if he dies and leaves her with not enough income to pay living expenses?
So about how old is she?
She is 76 and he is 80. And
so she's not going to go back to work.
No, can't go back to work.
Maybe her kids have money.
And, well, we didn't really get into that too much. I know that, she's terrified. And there's things that they could have planned, 5, 6, 7 years ago to protect themselves against that. Once you get ill and you start worrying about a nursing home, you can't buy insurance for it. So you have to plan it way in advance. The time to plan it is in advance.
So tell me about this program that you have, though, that you can our listeners get something like this from you?
I'm a little different than a lot of people. I don't necessarily just believe in purchasing long-term care or home health care insurance. What I like is there are specific type of life insurance policies out now that, let's say you put $100,000 into it, okay? It may give you $150,000 in death benefit, which is not the big deal, but it would give you, for instance, $300,000 in home health care or long-term care coverage.
Really?
About 3 to 1 in a lot of cases, and that grows each year. In other words, 10 years down the road, that $300,000 in coverage may have grown to $500,000 in coverage. And here's the good thing. If you need the $100,000, it's there. It's liquid if you need it. In other words, you can still go get it without a penalty, some of the plans that we represent. So in other words, if you never use it, it's going to pay off a death benefit tax-free. If you need the money, it's there. But there is some, you got to have a certain degree of health. You got to be in a certain degree of being in decent health in order to get this. This is one of the ways that I like to protect people against long-term care. And then with some products, you can do a joint type of product, so it would cover either one of them. So one product would cover either one of them. So those are the type of ways that I like to look at doing that. And then, we're all going to die sooner or later. So if you don't use it for long-term care, it will still have a death benefit, tax-free death benefit that could help the spouse. If the husband doesn't ever use it, for instance, and then later on in life he dies and that big reduction in income, she will have a life insurance policy to help offset it.
I love this. I love that you are into all these unusual. It's a little unusual, and I like that. So if someone wants to know more about this, besides coming to your seminar, and we're going to talk about that, can they just come and meet with you and you'll talk with them about it?
Yeah, call me up. I'll give the number. It's 954-564-0052. And if they hit extension 1, if I'm not in the office or an appointment, they'll get my extension and they can just leave a message for me to call them. I can answer some questions over the phone, or they can come in and talk to me. There's no charge for talking to me. So that's a non-issue. And, we just sit down and we talk at first, because that's the best way to get acquainted with someone and know really what their fears are, and then we can get into what they're trying to accomplish.
That's very fair of you. That's really nice. So someone you're like a counselor. You happen to be a financial counselor rather than social worker or something, but you can tell pretty quickly, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
But they better come knowing some of their situation.
I tell people, bring in anything they want me to look at. I can dig a lot of information just by asking questions, but anything they want me to look at, just bring it in with them. If they want me to look at their statements, or they want me to look at I've even had people bring in tax returns, and we glance at that and see what they're paying taxes on and things like that. But it's more or less, the first appointment is really just to get to know each other and what they're trying to accomplish and see. I call them, holes. We're looking for holes, because you don't want to step in a hole.
Good.
So, where's the holes, and what they have, and let's
that's a holy conversation. That's a very good way for you to have it. Well, I know that at your seminars you'll go into it, but it's not almost the same as being on a one-on-one. But I suggest, listen, you can go have a nice lunch at Bonefish Grill. It's coming up now. It's August the 15th and the 17th. I'm sorry, that's too late. We're going to do this.
We have 2 in September.
Well, that's right, 2 in September. And I'm going to talk about those right now.
Actually, 4 in September. I apologize.
That's right. Well, the one that we have in Fort Lauderdale, that comes up in, let's see, I have us all sitting here. Okay. So we have the one in Bonefish Grill in Fort Lauderdale is Tuesday, September the 19th, and Thursday, September the 21st at 11 o'clock. But we also have something that's coming up even, in Plantation. There's a difference. One is actually, let's see, they're both, one's in Fort Lauderdale, one's in Plantation, right? The one in Plantation is Tuesday, September the 12th, and Thursday, September the 14th at 10 o'clock. And that's at Carrabba's. So it's really nice that you give people lunch so that they get relaxed, and then but you do that after your
if
talk,
it's an 11 o'clock seminar,
that's right.
they eat at 12, and it's
That's
a 10 o'clock seminar, they eat at 11. So
I was thinking about that. That's right. Well, so come hungry, right? But it's funny. I think that any successful entrepreneur, as you are, financial entrepreneur, you really do need to be, and you're very friendly, you're very kind, because people are very nervous. And they don't always share all their information. You know that. As one grows older, they don't even share it with their kids. So how are they going to share it with you? But I think once they sit with you, they'll get the feeling you've been doing this a long time, that you really understand and see you come up with very unusual programs. That's why I urge our listeners, just don't go to the regular newspaper. You have it on TV. People they get you to call to do something. Don't do that. Go sit with someone that you can, know who they are. They have an office. And I suppose you've even gone to people's homes.
We prefer to meet at the office because I have everything there.
Right.
But if someone can't get around too well, I will go to their home.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, we have a very scary economy right now because everything, as you said, it's a real bull market, right? That's what we call the bull market. Because you taught me last time when we talked about a bear market.
We're in the longest bull market we've had. So,
wow. And so, tell me about the baby boomers, and tell me how this is all working for them. Are they pretty hopeful, or?
Well, let me tell you the deal with the baby boomers.
Yeah, tell me.
It's scary, and I'm going to explain it to you. I want you to think about what I'm about to tell you. About 20% of our population is baby boomers. They're the highest income producing group in the United States. And over the next 12 years, they're all going to be retiring. And starting next year, the oldest of them are turning 70 and a half, so they'll start having to take minimum distribution out of the IRA. So I want you to think about what I'm about to tell you. So as they retire, they stop paying into Social Security, and they start collecting it. They stop paying into Medicare, and they start collecting it. Now, when you think about Social Security, back when it came out, there was 50 people working for every one person on Social Security. 10 years ago, it was 3 to 1. It's going to 2 to 1 here shortly. So that's a major problem. And then this is the thing that's probably going to have a negative impact on the stock market is they're going to stop funding their 401k when they retire. And then, of course, the employer matches a portion of that. And not only they're going to stop funding it, that's all this money driving it and being driven into the market. They're going to start pulling money out of the market because they're going to stop looking for growth and start looking for safety. This is going to be a huge burden on the federal government when it comes to Social Security and Medicare.
Sounds catastrophic to me.
Lots of bills to pay when it comes to that. The government's got to come up with a lot of money, okay? And then this is going to be a real tough situation for the market to have all this money that is being poured into the 401ks to stop, and then these same group starting to getting more conservative. And not only that, remember, when they turn 70 and a half, they're forced to take money out of all that IRA money, that 401k money. They're forced to do withdrawals, minimum distribution.
I didn't realize that. I know you said that last week, but you're telling me that even if they don't need the money, they have to take it out. And then they have to invest it somewhere else, though, right?
Well, they can do whatever they want with it, but they got to pay taxes on it, and that's what the government wants.
That's what you're saying. So now they've been scot-free all this time, and now they want the tax.
They've never paid taxes on it. The government wants taxes. So my main point is the baby boomers is going to really be something that we got to be worried about because all these taxes they're paying into the federal government. Think about this. High income producing and all this. Their income will drop as they retire, in most cases. Funding all that money into the market, that's going to stop. And then going on Social Security, going on Medicare, it's going to be a tough road. And a lot of candidates aren't talking about it too much.
No, but wait a minute. But you have fabulous programs that you have hidden in your little pocket. So I was thinking the baby boomers ought to be talking to you so you can help them to know how they can get that money out and put it into something to take care of them, right?
There's things you can do to protect yourself.
That's what I got.
Things you can do to make sure that no matter what happens, you always have income throughout the rest of your life. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's the perfect position for someone that's looking to retire or retired to be putting a portion of their money. Protection, protection, protection. And it's a different world out here when we talk about all these things. So that's why it's so important for them to sit down and, go through this type of stuff.
And go through it now before it gets, dangerous, right?
Absolutely. Before this next market drop happens and this next 10 years it's going to be a rough road.
Okay, let me go over the seminars again, because I'm going to the one coming up this month. But I want everybody to get your pencils out and please be sure to go, because I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Let's do this again. So the title is how well will the next market downturn impact you? And there'll be other retirement issues, of course, coming up. And we're now talking to John PENNACHIO, and he is the president and founder of the Safety First Financial. And the one I'm going to tell you about is at Bonefish Grill, and it's Tuesday, September the 19th, and Thursday, September the 21st at 11 o'clock. And that's the Bonefish Grill. That's the one in Promenade at Bay Colony in Fort Lauderdale. Now, if you can't make that one, or if you want to go to another one because you didn't get everything, you can go to the one Tuesday, September the 12th, and Thursday, September the 14th at 10 o'clock, and that's at Carrabba's, and that's in Plantation. Now, I'm going to give you a phone number to call, and you have to mention the word code. The code that you want to mention is BOOM. The number to call, and you must RSVP, and just get your pencils out. It's 877-620-3556. Again, 877-620-3556, and mention the code BOOM. I think you really want to go to these. I mean, this is like such a gift. I appreciate that you're doing this. I mean, it's a gift for people.
It's enjoyable for me because we're able to help people every single week.
Right.
And, that makes what I do for a living enjoyable.
Yeah, I know it is. And you're that kind of guy. I think you like that. I think you like to talk to people, and that's a wonderful thing. But let's just, looking at you have this beautiful advertisement, and if people will go to page 7 of their Boomer Times, I think you probably just received your Boomer Times, and let's just now talk about, the title is How Will the Next Market Downturn Impact You? You're really very nervous about this. You really are. I know, I can see it in your eyes, and you're worried about what is going to happen. So what's going to happen? Well,
I tell you, things have changed dramatically. Let's talk 10 years ago. Bond funds were paying 6, 7, 8%. Okay, you could put your money in bond funds, make 6, 7, 8%. And what was happening with interest rates during the last 10 years? They've been going down, right? So as interest rates go down, bond fund values go up. Interest rates go down, so you're making 7, 8%. Everything's wonderful. Now, today, bond funds are paying about 3.5%, and interest rates are going up. So remember, as interest rates creep up ever so slowly, the value of your bond funds go down. Now, why am I talking about bond funds? Because when I get in front of retired clients, they own mutual funds. A lot of them own mutual funds. And mutual funds are allocated in equities and fixed. And fixed is a bond fund, okay? Now, you think about this a minute. If you're conservative, about 60% of the allocation is in bond funds. So most mutual funds charge a point and a half, 2% in fees. If 60% of that money is making 3.5% and you're paying 2% in fees, you're not making any money.
Absolutely not.
Way different than it was 10 years ago, where you were making 8% in bond funds and everything was smiling because the interest rates were going down and you're making lots of money. The future is a little bit tough. So the products that I like to represent that are insured, you can go to sleep and not worry and know that, you can get 6, 7% guaranteed income. You can get the ups of the market and not the downs. And people say, gosh, that sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. It's been around for a long time. And if you sit down, I'll make sure you understand how it works.
That's great. And what is the minimum amount of money that someone should be able to put that?
Generally, it's $10,000 is the minimum. But most people that sit down, if you've got $250,000 and you put $10,000 into one, you haven't done anything.
Right.
So, it's not that I'm going to ever pressure anybody to do anything, but you want to do enough to make sure that it protects you for the future.
So let's just say someone puts $100,000 into this, and let's say that there's an emergency. What happens if they need to get that money
Okay, that's
out?
a very good question. So first of all, they can take income, okay? But when we sit down with someone, we're not going to leave them where they don't have liquid money, okay? That's number one. You're not going to put all your eggs in one basket, and you're not going to leave yourself illiquid. These index annuities, for instance, is one product we use. You can take 10% a year without a penalty. They have 7-year penalty periods, 10 years, but you can take 10% a year without a penalty. If many other ways to get all the money out without a penalty. If you're terminal ill, if you go to a nursing home or home health care, if you die, of course. But the thing is, you make sure that you're liquid in other areas so that if you needed $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, you're not going to take a penalty. So we make sure that people have liquidity. The thing that scares me the most is that I sit down with retired people, 70 years old, and 80% of their investments, 80% of their money is at risk in the stock market.
Really?
And you know what the old rule of thumb was?
No.
You take the number 100 and you subtract your age from it. So you take 100, you subtract the age of 70. That leaves 30. That's what percentage of your money is supposed to be at risk, 30%. And so the younger you are, but people have gotten greedy and they've forgotten about the last two big drops. And I'm astonished that I get in front of people that they have the majority of their money. 80 years old. This week, it was Monday. This week on Monday, I had a lady came in. She's 85, and she has, I would say, 75% of her money in the stock market.
Oh my gosh. Well, why would anyone put someone like that? Or is it just grown? Or she just?
It's not that of course it's grown, but you're supposed to, rebalance. It's because they just think it's never going to end.
But they know better than that, don't they?
Short
so
memories.
You're trying to shake them up and say, look, what if the stock market went down and you have 75%? What's going to happen to you, right? So would you have them, let's say someone like that says, okay, what should I do? What would you do?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of questions. What are they looking to do with the money? Do they need income and stuff like that? But the simple thing is, it's complicated because the money that isn't IRA money, the non-qualified money, there may be a huge tax burden to sell the stuff. Capital gains tax. You got to look at that. So the first thing I would look at, the qualified money, the IRAs. We could move that into something with less risk it would be a rollover, so there wouldn't be a tax implication. So we would look at the investments that we can maneuver into something more safe that wouldn't create a tax. Because there is a lot of appreciated assets out there, and if you sell them, they're going to get a big tax bill. And although no one wants to lose 20, 30, 40, 50% of the market, they also don't want to pay a 28% capital gains tax.
Very good point.
So there's a lot of things you look at.
That's a good point. That's why they need someone like you as a financial advisor. So you see all that. See, it seems so simple. Well, I'll just sell the stock and I'll put the other money something else. We're not doing that because there'll be money now. They'll be taxed. So it's a kind of a chicken and egg, isn't it?
If they're within the same fund, a lot of times they can sell and go in the money market in the same fund and not have a tax liability. So we look at many different things to help them. And a lot of people, I'll tell you what happened. And I think we mentioned this last week. But the Department of Labor came out with this fiduciary rule, okay? And what it's really done is it has caused large brokerages to fire their clients. If you don't have $1 million with them, they call you, they orphan you, which means you get no more advice. So people don't have advice to do what they want to do, and not only that, the reps aren't going to spend the time with you. So they're not going to call you all the time and give you advice and things of that sort. It's a different world, and these things that we think that the federal government did smart moves actually is hurting the middle class retiree. It really is.
So Safety First Financial wants you to call them, because if you call them, especially those orphans, we want the orphans, right?
The people that are really being left behind.
Yeah, that's not fair. It's hard. It breaks my heart when you tell me that. That is not fair to do that. So let me give you the phone number again, please. Well, let's give you a couple of phone numbers. The one that you need to call for the seminars. I'm very interested in your attending them, because then you'll get to meet John. You'll get to really hear all the things. He's going to tell you so many things. And the phone number there is 954-564-0052. And you want to say, It's the code is BOOM. But then I'm going to give you his cell phone too. It's his office phone, and you'll get him directly. And if not, you'll just he'll call you back. That number is 954-564. Oh, it's the same one I have here. That's right. No, I have another one for you, don't I? Let's see. I don't. Which number should they call you?
Well, that's the office number is that one, 954-564-0052. That's the office.
That is the one.
Hit extension 1, you'll come straight to my desk.
Okay.
And if if you're not sure where to call for the seminars, call me up. I'll tell you which one they are, and I'll make sure you get on the list.
Okay, that's fair. And so we really want you to do this. I'm very excited. I'm actually going this Thursday. I guess it's I'm going on Thursday. And I'm going to see just how well this goes. Knowing you, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Well, I hope it is. And I'll tell you this, too. The food's pretty doggone good at Bonefish also. So.
Yeah, well, listen, it's nice to do that because it's very hospitable. But at the same token, I'm really coming because I want the information. We're very fortunate to have you on every Saturday morning from 7:30 to 8. And he's just going to fill you up with lots of good stuff. So make sure you always have your pad and pencil. Do you give pads and pencils at the luncheon?
They do. They get to take notes. They have something to take notes with. They get a pen. So
very good. Well, I can't wait. So next week I'm going to have a lot to say about the seminar when I get finished. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thank you.
Be sure to listen each Saturday morning from 7:30 to 8 on WSBR and hear John PENNACHIO, founder of Safety First Financial, talk about important retirement strategies. Call 954-564-0052 or go to their website, sfinancial.net.